bzz, 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 bzz. Let's get some music. Yeah, just a little bit for a minute. Okay. All right. Hey everyone, thanks. Thank you for for sticking with us. It's good to be back again. We just completed, again, still a very rough edit, but we did a little sound design, really kind of recomposed the music that I'd scored and recorded just before I came out here. Started adding a couple things. We need to add in some screens and some other stuff, and there's still color correction and things to be done to really finalize this. But I saw a couple, and Yuri just mentioned, you like to see the troubleshooting and all that. Yeah, it's not, it's really part of the process here, creating. I'm not as time concerned, but also, a lot of things like this. I don't know. Compositionally, I tend to change my mind a lot, so that's probably why I don't cut trailers for a living. So anyway, we're going to start in Premiere Pro, and I just want to shut this down. I'm going to shut down Audition as well, just so we can start sort of from a clean slate. Go ahead and just save this. All right, get out of this session here. I don't know what Untitled 2 is. Hopefully I'm not using it somewhere. Yes. Oh. Flargles. Ugh. I did not do that. That's okay. I just altered one of my master files. That's okay. All right. So let's go back into Premiere, which appears to still be running. Still running? What's happening? Man, my HDMI is just not... There's something weird with it this week. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, it's doing something. There we go. Okay. All right. So, it would shock you how many freelancers I don't understand color at all. It actually doesn't, Shaq, because this is something. Dave Edwards, nice. Didn't know it was included. Enjoy, my friend. That stuff was made a long, long time ago, and as someone who made most of it. There's some stuff that is definitely a little dated, but musically, there's a lot of good, very timely stuff. And if you do any kind of looping, I heard people saying before, like, whether Cubase, Fruity Loops, Logic, you can work with loops. All the audio loop files will work in all those programs. They've got beat markers, got the keys, all the metadata is already in them, put in manually by yours truly. So it's totally something that you should look into. And I'm glad you're downloading it. Oh, Shaq News, it's the Apple products. Yeah. I mean, I'm a little surprised only because color has had such a larger role, and grading in general has become so much more, or let me rephrase that. I think users have become way more intimately aware of the importance of color and, taking some of the credit there since we kind of introduced the Lumetri color panel, which I talk about and we discuss all the time. It's really brought color correction to non-colorists, particularly if you have ever been familiar with or have worked with, Lightroom, the Develop module, or, Camera Raw. It's absolutely changed everything for me. I mean, for years, I didn't grade anything myself because I wasn't confident in my abilities to, monitor and sort of meter the color. Yes, I could throw a broadcast safe limiter on there, but that wasn't it. It was more like, I don't know if it's right. I don't know, skin tones, it's like struggling all the time. And then, of course, flattening and sort of understanding how to do that after the fact if you'd forgotten to flatten out a DSLR. And we just made that so much easier with Lumetri. Okay, excuse me. It's only been 13 hours. All right, so... Oh, my screen just went black. Oh, and there's my screensaver. How did that happen? Okay. There we are. All right. So we will start, and we can actually keep the music going for a little bit. Understanding level should be something everybody knows. Yeah, I totally agree. And it's one thing that you'll always hear me say. I'll never get too deep when I'm using the scopes, but you'll hear me talk about, okay, yep, totally blown out, black's totally crushed. Yeah, no shadow detail. we got to fix this, or this is unfixable. And I totally agree. And as I mentioned before, these new scopes now having, switchable color space, adjustable brightness. We kind of redesigned this was in the last version, but the YUV and the histogram as well. And these are just really fantastic. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is the new ingest and proxy workflow. Now, we actually performed this. Nuncio was like, yeah, right. This is one of the first things we did yesterday in starting the trailer project. And this is new. And just to give a little backstory for some of you who are joining me today for the first time. It's actually funny, Chris, mine is the bottom left, but I didn't think I'd dragged it down there. We added an ingest and proxy workflow in this version of Premiere Pro, specifically because now is the time that really it makes sense. And as Michael was saying, when we sort of edged back into the industry and then really started leading it in many ways, even several years ago, our whole mantra at the time was we're native, right? And that was a true that was a true differentiator between Premiere Pro, Avid, Final Cut, Vegas. Well, no, actually, Vegas had a pretty good native workflow even a couple years back, but we were native with everything. And that was kind of the thing. So whether it was R3D files, which in 2010, when we released CS5, that was sort of, what? That was like unheard of. We were basically still coming out of the P2 era. And to be able to do R3D, Red 4K natively without transcoding in the timeline on a laptop 6 years ago was like, and Darko, I don't know if that was the emote that you were trying to express there, but it was like, how is this even possible? It was possible because of the Mercury playback engine. And we kind of kept this mantra going for a long, long time. Now, several years ago, we introduced Prelude, our ingest, tagging, logging, rough cutting tool, because a lot of the people coming over from Final Cut and other NLEs said, no K, sorry, I was just reading 4K drink. No transcoding is cool, but, there's more reasons why outside of just being able to do stuff natively. As Michael just said moments ago, you're working with other people on different systems. Some are doing After Effects, some are doing something else. If you're in Premiere on the Mac, or maybe you're in After Effects on the Mac and they're running Vegas on the PC, how do you move files around easily? If we're working everything natively here and it's native in After Effects too, that doesn't help the editor, right? So to have a solution to do that. So it was very, very cool. And I love Prelude, and again, that was updated yesterday as well. But again, I would still say that for the most part, for me anyway, and for some, transcoding obviously is very common, so that's not the issue anymore. The bottom line was we just kept kind of pushing the native thing because we could. Well, now as we move into, you guys are going to have to drink now, 5K, 6K, and 8K, which, by the way, we've natively supported all of the flavors of those, everything from the Epic to the Dragon, now to the Red Weapon. All of those formats, they're so much larger, right? Higher frame rates, wider color gamuts, running natively, and then just moving the footage around, right? How many gigs does it take to record 30 seconds of 8K? Answer: a lot. Not hundreds, of course, but what would normally be a couple hundred megs or something that you were used to, now we're talking gigs for, seconds, right? That's a lot. And even just to have the throughput to be able to play that stuff in real time, it's just a bear, And we said yesterday, this is my editing suite right here. It's the whole thing. So I wouldn't even attempt to try and do. I can get 5K on here, like 6K, it's a bit of a struggle, and 8K, it's just not happening, right? Not with an external spinning drive on a laptop. It's not going to be great. Maybe at 1/16th res, maybe, but even still, now, I don't know. So we introduced the ingest and proxy workflow now. And what this does is not only does it bring the ingest directly into Premiere, so you don't have to leave the app, right? But it's just at a point in time that makes sense. And more importantly, the way that you can swap between proxy and native media is a single-click operation, which is awesome. You can relink to existing proxies. You can attach proxies after the fact. We've made it very elegant to actually work with these smaller, lightweight versions of your files and then reattach the other media truly in a single click using a new button that we have in the button editor here. So this is actually some footage that was shot. This is, if I just do a reveal in the project here, and I'll open up my, sorry, wrong flyout. Open up my preview area. So this happens to be 5K. Okay, yeah, this is Epic 5K. So you can see the attributes up here. These are R3D files, 5120 by 2700. Okay, so this is all 5K. Now, this is just the native media here. So if I were to go and try and play this back, now this is at full quality using the Mercury playback engine. That's not going to happen. So I can probably even do a quarter res. Let's see if I can get real-time playback. Now this is already sort of, this is shot slow-mo here, so that's normal. It looks okay. If I go ahead and, let me just turn on my, I want to see if I can, hold on a second here. See something. All right, just checking my playback here for a second. Okay, let me show my dropped frame indicator. All right, this is green, so we're not dropping any frames. So I'm getting quarter res playback at 5K on the laptop. Now that's pretty good. Now as I start kind of scrubbing around here, still going pretty well. All right, we had a little kind of glitchiness right there. All right, still green. Amazing. Oh no, all right, now we're dropping some frames. Okay. All right, back to green. So it's, this is doable, right? And this is how I was doing it yesterday or 2 days ago, right? And honestly, I'd probably go down to 1/8 or even 1/16 because what you'll find is, you're looking here, this is 1/8 resolution with 5K footage. There's so many pixels. This is totally legit for editing. But, again, maybe storage-wise, it's not so ideal. Maybe this just isn't the way that you want to work. And if you've got all this native media, it's difficult. This is a short timeline with 3 clips that are just backed up against one another. This isn't an edit, so it gets a lot more complex when you start playing 2 streams of 4K, 2 streams of 8K. Well, so now, directly in the media browser, you'll notice that there is a checkbox here to ingest, which means that right from the media browser, you can have a card in here. So if I turn on ingest, go up to my project settings, ingest settings. Now you will see, and this is in the general project, so before, the same general tab, scratch disks, ingest settings. Now you'll see that we have 4 options for you: copy, transcode, create proxy, and copy and create proxy. You can understand what this is. This just makes the proxies by themselves. Again, if you want to generate them after the fact. And this is going to do like you just shot it. Now we want to copy the media from the card to someplace else and create the proxies at the same time. So let's go ahead and choose that. And when I do, you'll see that a whole series of different presets show up. And you can create your own ingest presets as well. You can add watermarks, which I'll show you, which will also allow you to more easily differentiate between the native media and the proxy media. Now, when we're talking, again, greater than 4K, you'll know, because if you try and go to half res or full, especially on a laptop, you're just on a spinning drive. It's very doubtful you're going to get full real-time unrendered playback, and even rendered at 5K. It's a lot, You might. That's not to say you won't. Premiere does amazing things, but it's not going to be absolutely predictable. So you can see here we've got ProRes presets, and you might ask, what are these kind of weird resolutions? So these all conform to the various multiples of 4K, 5K, 6K, 8K, sort of the standard sizes of those. And if we're working in 5K, we probably want to use this 1024 by 540, and we can do either ProRes, Cineform, H.264. Now, as it happens, I have copied over some of the media already, so I just want to create a proxy. And in fact, I've got my own little proxy preset that I created here. All right, so I could choose that if I wanted. All right, click OK on that. All right, so now if I navigate to that local disk, which happens to be this one right here, this is some of the footage that we shot yesterday. All right, so I could simply take something like this clip and choose import. Okay, and it imports the file. And then, as some of you may have seen yesterday, if we go back to my project here, okay, it just imported and created the proxy for that media, okay? Now, if we go ahead and look at this timeline again, if you look down below, let me go ahead and expand our metadata offerings here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and customize these. So let's go into our metadata display, because there's a couple of essential things that you're going to want to enable that are not enabled by default, or they might be. It could just be this project, because obviously this project was created before the release. So, you know, when you change versions and things, and any of you have ever worked with beta, you know how that process can be. So let's leave this. We don't need tape name or description. We don't need log note. We don't need capture settings. We want status. I don't need scene. I'm just disabling all the things that I don't want. I don't even know why we enable some of these things by default. But the ones that I do want, for sure, are video codec, field order. I'm not working in interlace, so I don't care about that. And proxy status, okay? So go ahead and enable those. And I could save that as my own choice preset. So preferred 01. All right. Click OK on that, and then I can drag these over to however I feel like these are appropriate, okay? So right away you can see we've got proxies on this epic red footage here. This will also tell us the video codec, and then frame rate, media duration, all the other things that you know, okay? So currently, we can see here we've got proxies attached to this 5K, but currently we are just working in the 5K content. How do I know? Well, this new button that you see here allows you to toggle between the proxies and the native media. Now, you won't see this by default. You'll have to go into the button editor here and enable this. And there's a couple of new buttons in there, as a matter of fact. The other one here again is toggle proxies. The other new one is this one here, toggle VR video display. So simply by clicking on the proxy button, all right, you will now see that proxy, which I used that preset that we talked about that I just showed you a moment ago. We're now working with our proxy media. And let's just say I went up to full on this. Go ahead and hit play. Of course, now that I'm selling it so hard, it doesn't really matter. Let me go to half res. If this doesn't play in real time, I'm throwing my computer. Okay, good. So we're with our proxy media, all right? We're in half res playback of that. When I stop, of course, it's full res, and that's all based on the settings of my playback and pause resolution. So you can see pausing at full, playing back at half, okay? All right. And at any point in time, so I do my edit, right? Let's even advance along here. Notice even as I'm going now double speed, dropped a frame there for a second, no drop frames. Smooth, beautiful playback. I wonder if I could now just go into full. Let me just see. Close media encoder for a second here. Let me see if this is going to do it. It was before. Arg. It's all right. We're obviously working with proxies. What if I now want to do my grading and I want to go back to the native media? Because this is, these are H.264 based proxies. The overlay goes away. I added that overlay in the ingest preset, and now I'm back to my native media. And if I go ahead and hit play on it now, you know, actually it's it's playing okay. Yeah, now we're dropping quite a few frames. And again, if we were to look at this here, and this is my point, is that on my laptop, it's a little old, it's a little worn. I'm just not gonna get the performance using 5K, 6K, 8K with an external spinning drive. This is not, you know. So I don't have to now with this proxy workflow. People asked yesterday, so what if you've got proxies? And they asked me on Twitter today, how do we attach proxies? If you don't generate them now, can you still do that? Yes. So if you were to right click here, you can see you have the ability to create proxies now, after the fact, whenever. Attach existing ones. Say you made a whole bunch of proxies in Avid. Say you made a whole bunch of proxies in Prelude earlier. You know, some of my edits, it's taken me 4 years to revisit and finish them. I could attach those right now. Okay, I don't have to regenerate them. And this one here, reconnect full resolution media. I mean, I guess if you had an older session, I don't really know necessarily where you'd per se do that. I guess if you just had proxies and you wanted to reconnect native media to it, that's what you use that for. Duh, that was pretty easy to figure out. Pfft. Anyhow, that's it. That's it. You how do you enable the proxy workflow? You go into project settings, ingest settings, and choose one of these presets or make your own and decide what you want to do in the format you want. You go into the media browser. You just make sure that the ingest box is checked. You can select all of your footage. You can right click and you can import or control click, and it's just going to do that for you. Where's the audio to those tracks stored? If there is audio in those respective clips, which for these there wasn't any, if you're talking about the actual location of where the media would live, is based on here. So you'll see you've got your primary destination and your proxy destination, and you could choose and decide wherever that stuff is going to go. The default is same as project. You can use a preset destination. You'll notice we even include Creative Cloud files in here because ultimately, if you're working on a small, tight edit, maybe you're doing something collaborative. That's one of the nice benefits is that small, lightweight H.264s for a short DSLR-based edit, you're very likely going to be under the 20 gigs. Well, it depends. I don't know. It depends on the length of your media, right? But you could theoretically put it there. Of course, you can also stick it in a Dropbox or some other place if you wanted to have it in the cloud and collaborative. Excuse me. So, the proxy workflow. It's awesome. I couldn't wait to get my hands on it because I've been struggling on this machine with multicam edits with footage that was from older DSLRs with older codecs that are just harder to decode. And it was getting a little uncomfortable. And again, it wouldn't have mattered, it wouldn't have mattered if I thought, I'll move the drive or whatever. It's just a lot. It's a lot of throughput for this one single machine to handle. And if I can just work and do the cutting on proxies and then reconnect it later, and I say later, it's a second, right? There's no reconnecting necessary. You just click the button, bzz, Now we're in proxy, just like that, right? Uncheck it. Now we're in full res media. That's it. First the iPad, now the computer. Okay, I don't know where the reference is, Lemolio. I'm sorry I missed it earlier. You may want to ask it again. Okay, now as far as stock video goes, let's see. Oh, we've got 33 minutes. Cool. Now we built up this whole timeline leveraging stock video, so I just wanted to show you, and I was just showing you actually just saw a second ago, sort of a little bit more of how that works and how you can license directly from the timeline, which is new. So we added stock. Oh God! We added stock 4K video. I'm sorry. I can't hide it, man. It's been super long. We added stock 4K video in the November-December release, and we had the ability to search inside the libraries in Premiere. However, you didn't have filtered search, so when you searched on creepy house, you saw creepy house vectors, you saw creepy house imagery, you saw creepy house illustration, creepy house video. There was no way to sort of segment it out, to separate it. Now you can. So from within the library here in Adobe Stock, I could say something like, let's see, what should we search on? Let's do night leopard. All right. And now you'll see that I actually have these little checkboxes here. So I just want to look at videos. And now, if I even make this here, I can even make this a floating, let's undock the panel here. Michael was showing this before. This is kind of a really beautiful way to experience the content, especially with imagery. Now I can see all 13 results. Now, Michael mentioned this before, too. I was talking about this yesterday. So when I was searching on night leopard, I want to find video of leopards at night, right? There are 13 of those on all of Adobe Stock. Here's another thing. Let's take a look at one of these. Now you'll notice there's a play button here, but when you actually hover over it, it tells you to watch it on the web. So this is for sort of quick review. If you don't need to see the preview here, you can actually just download the preview directly. So if I wanted to download the preview of this to my library, I can do that right here. Save preview to Jason's library. It goes ahead and does that. You can now see that that's already added, and it's downloading in the background. However, as I mentioned before, Night Leopard. Okay, if you want to preview them in advance of downloading, which you very well likely may do, clicking on this will launch your browser and allow you to preview and see all of the attributes. Making me tired, LA Smoothie. Sorry. And Nuncio, it's the same thing. So the audio to the proxies would be stored wherever you denote where they were going. Assume if it were separate, if it were self-contained, it'll be in just that version of the file, in the H.264 or what have you. Okay, so here we are now on the stock site, looking at this particular shot, and again, you can actually see it in advance before you download it. You can see that the title here. This happens to be flat ungraded media. And you'll see all the the dimensions, the file type, the codec, the bit rate, the duration, the frame rate, the file size, and also the author. So as we were talking about with regard to being stock contributors, I can't emphasize this enough that if you've got footage that you've shot, B-roll, and it's just sitting around, well, upload it to Adobe Stock and see if they accept it, and then monetize it. I mean, there's no loss to you to upload this footage. So, and I said before, right, we were noticing under Night Leopard, all of these shots here of the actual leopard, except for this one, which that looks, I don't even know what that is. Maybe it's a leopard. It looks sort of generated and fake. But all of these shots here of this leopard at night, I shot all of these. I've cornered the stock market on Night Leopard video. Nice. All right. You could too. Okay. So that's it. And did they accept all of my stuff? No, of course not. But the idea is that you can do that very easily. You'll also notice here, if I just go back to the full searching experience, that they've added some new filtering, segmenting capabilities here. So again, if we go, now we're looking at everything, right? Images, video, vectors. Go back to videos here. Now we're seeing all the videos that they have go into this additional search, and now you've got subcategories. So within the search, you can search 4K HD just right here, include or exclude people. You can safe search if that's necessary. If you go to all, there's even more options, obviously, for imagery. So let's go ahead and just twirl this down here. So you can search by price. You can search by orientation, okay, which again, for stills, right, essential. You can search by a particular color. So cool. So this was all added yesterday, this new searchability here. And once again, if you wanted to see more of this, so here, let's go to a different clip, and I'll grab, whoops, I don't want to license it. No, I hope that didn't just do that. Okay. Let me just go to my catalog here. Find something else, not a leopard. Okay, so here's like this is a wild dog. Okay, a wild dog laying in the grass. I hate that this piece of grass was in the front of his face, but, hey, it's a neat shot otherwise. He licks his wounds. Very cool. Okay, let's go ahead and save the preview. Again, you've got the option here to save it to any of your Creative Cloud libraries. I've got a whole bunch. It's actually not even showing all of them here. That's interesting. I'll save it to Jason's library. Grab that preview, and it appears here inside my library in a matter of seconds. All right, once it syncs, it's syncing and does its thing, okay? And there it is, coming in right there. All right, close-up Africa. So now if I take this library panel again, let's bring it back here. You should make an license all button, maybe like 1% clicks it by accident. Could you imagine if we had license all, like the button? Yeah, like very expensive. I need to upload footage, 4K drone. Oh, so Mike, this is what we were searching on yesterday. Yeah. So the opening to the trailer, that's exactly what we searched on. I think church drone 4K, and you've got beach stuff. Yeah, I mean, believe me, 4K drone. there are many. There's never enough. And this is one of the things that I learned from Terry White and some of our other colleagues who've gotten into it. Three quick things about stock if you're going to become a contributor. One, there's always somebody who's looking for more footage. So Mike, please do that. We'd love to have it. I think that's amazing. Particularly drone stuff. It's hot right now. 4K drone. We used a couple in the trailer here. Some shot better than others. Are yours better than others? They might be. There's no loss to you to upload them. Additionally, so if you've got it lying around, it costs you nothing to try and upload it to become a contributor. Two, if it does get accepted, or even if in pre-acceptance mode, keywording is key. Keywording is essential. And unlike sort of, building websites and things where you want to be a bit more careful about how many keywords and things so that you don't cause the opposite effect with search engines that just sort of avoid you because you've spammed them with too many keywords, stock search is actually different. They allow up to 50, and I would say from what everyone I've spoken to, you want a minimum of 30. All right, 30 keywords. And the reason being is that while you might have a 4K drone shot at the beach, and maybe that's all it is, right? So your keywords could be 4K, drone, beach, but what else goes along with that? And I talked about this yesterday. Well, what does a beach typically mean? Well, vacation, holiday, family. If you're in the U.S., it could be 4th of July, it could be summer. There's all these other things that people might search on. So they might not think, I want a drone, but they might think, okay, I want some like beach, holiday, family. Well, you just might happen to have 4K drones of people on a beach where there's families or people. Genius, right? And the search engine is very good at locating all of those things. So anyway, once we've done that, now we can import this footage. So actually I've got appropriate footage here that was downloaded that kind of fits this timeline specifically. So if I go ahead and just select this here. All right, I'm going to add it to the project. So adding this video to my project, you see you've got a little progress bar here. So now it's actually downloading that preview video, which happens to be, I believe this is, it's 4K. This is also a drone shot. Okay. All right, Mike, so if you're checking that out, right? Yep, 30 at a minimum. You've got as many as 50. Vacation. So, this could fall into that category too, right? This is drone, but this all of those things, beach, coast, blue, sky, mountain, landscape, beauty, all of these things. And start searching on stock content to see what other people are tagging things with. You'll notice that a lot of my content, I'm like in the top 3, even though I might be among hundreds of other clips. Good tagging. So watch, take a look, see what others are doing. That's of great benefit to you. So once again, I can go ahead and click O on this. It's a little out point. Drag this down into the timeline. Okay, we've got the proxy option enabled, so it created the proxy as we inserted the footage here. Now you'll notice that this is not filling the frame. But wait a second, this is 4K. Well, yeah, because this timeline is 5K. So that's fine. Here I can do a couple of different things. If I just go, let me just go to my scale here. Go to my effects controls. And I will scale this up approximately 135%. Fill our frame there, okay. So now we've got our footage in here. Okay, that's a weird crossfade right there. And as I'm previewing through this, this is actually Adobe Stock footage too. I'm scrubbing through it. Now, again, trying to find clips that matched some of this other footage that you see here. This was shot by a company called Camp 4 Collective. Pretty awesome that we actually found 2 completely different sort of jungle rainforest shots that have kind of similar light, similar grades. One other thing that you'll notice is that half of my footage, or at least half of it or more, is offered as flat. So sometimes you'll see that I have flat and graded options. I think if Mike and those listening who want to upload video footage, since I can now clearly state Adobe Stock accepts flattened footage, which doesn't look pretty to non-video people, right? If you don't know why something is flat, for the purpose of grading it later, for the purpose of color matching. You might look at it and go, oh, this footage sucks. It's so desaturated, soft, and not contrasty. Yes, because that's ideally what you want, you know. To be honest, we're lucky that these greens are so close. You can see this is so. I mean, this kind of looks like. I mean, this is a proxy anyway. I'm sorry. No, this is. Yeah. Well, it is. It's a preview file, but it's very, very sharp. Like, this is super, super sharp. So this is most likely. It could be just like I don't know what this was shot with. I don't believe this is red. It could be, but just looking at the sharpness, it doesn't look like it to me. So in any case, flat is good, flat is okay. We will accept flat footage. If you like it as you start building up your timeline, then much like the ability to switch between proxies in a single click, it used to be that you had, as Michael was describing, and even in Photoshop before, to go back to the library, right-click here and license. Now that's not such a big deal, but yeah, it's a couple more steps ultimately. Now, directly from the timeline, you can just right-click on your clip, choose License, and let's assume that I had come in here. Am I hearing some really bizarre noises all of a sudden?
This is from the movie.
There's some construction going on. Oh, that's... Yeah. Okay, so this is the CineSpace LUT. Can you hear that? Can you hear it? It's so crazy. All right, so I'm going to just drop the intensity of that CineSpace LUT, okay? And let's just say that I did several other things to this, okay? Let's imagine that I added a little bit of a vignette, okay? And maybe I also added some faded film to this, all right? And just did random things. Maybe I did some adjustments, some motion adjustments to it. Maybe I did some tracking and masking on this, even after I've added all of that. And again, I've shown this to the client, and they love it. Now I can simply license, and all the changes, everything that I've done is all instantly applied. You don't have to redo it. You don't have to re-import. You don't have to go back to the stock site. You don't have to go back to the library. You just license. It downloads the full res version. It will replace it in the timeline. And as you've now seen, because we have the proxy feature enabled, it'll make a proxy of it if you want it. You can also turn that off. But you just keep working, right? So the benefit is, like, if you already use stock video, and I'm just curious if anyone in the chat, let me know if you use stock video today. It doesn't have to be Adobe Stock. It doesn't matter whom else you use if you're editing in Premiere. If you've worked on stuff, you have to go to their site, you have to re-download it, you have to then re-import it, you have to then bring it into the timeline, and then you have to copy-paste the attributes from clip to clip. It's like 5-6 steps. Here it's a single right-click operation. So this is really, really cool, and I can't emphasize enough, if you've got stuff lying around, if you've ever thought about doing this, if you're just looking for one more way to monetize your art, stock.adobe.com/contributor. All right? Sweet. Exactly, and that's another great point, Mike, DR Films, is that, you know, for many, I mean, there are obviously people who that is their main income, that's their livelihood. So I started to say there was 3 things. So I don't remember what the first one was now. The third thing that I was going to say was, the first thing was there's never enough. Someone always wants your footage, potentially. Second was keywording is okay. And the third is, now did I just forget the third one? That was my third one. It's this music, man. Be bold. Be bold. It'll come back to me. Is using a flat color profile video as simple as applying the appropriate cam LUT to it to get some working contrast back? Funk Master Fresh. So yes, I mean, as a matter of fact, and you can use the input LUTs that we have in Premiere Pro to flatten in advance of upload, particularly if you're working with DSLR. Now, you know, if you're working in RAW with a red or something else like that, you have way more control. In advance. This is insane. I don't know. There's not like a dying animal outside the studio. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm hearing it through here, so you must be hearing it. Yeah, there's just a lot of distraction here all of a sudden. Oh, but Mike, you were asking about, yes, main income. So the third part of the game is volume. Okay? So, you know, not 5, not 10, not 50. You know, unless they're just like the 50 greatest whatever ever. You know, if you really want to potentially see some nice income from this. Now, video is a different story, of course, because it's way more. It's more expensive than stills. But but it's a volume game. Doesn't matter. It's a volume game. So as much content as you can get up there, as much content as they will accept, it behooves you to do so. All right? Preach, LA Smoothie. I am Doom Destroyer of Worlds. I love you. SR, Enchanted Boy. Okay, sweet. Hey, Enchanted Boy, nice to have you. Nice to have some new faces here today. All right, so that is my stock video pitch for all of you. Okay, so now, this is a dying animal in the room next to us. That's what I said, right? There's not a dying animal next to us. If you're wondering, we are getting a bit punchy. Yeah. Video make bank. That's right, ND Demon Wolf. Freewheeling. Okay. So Lumetri. Now, we were just talking about Lumetri. You saw me grade some stuff before. Lumetri has changed color. It has reimagined color for the editor. It is absolutely, without a doubt, my favorite addition to Premiere Pro. Probably since the Mercury playback engine. It has completely changed color, grading, and my workflows, because now, as someone who's a photographer for 20-something years, I've always felt comfortable in Lightroom and Camera Raw. I never felt comfortable with, the color wheels. And I still don't really. I know what they do. I'm just not very fast at it, and it's just not my thing. I didn't study color theory, so I know how they work, but I don't instinctively see combinations and know that that's red and green and cyan mixed together and at these values. I can't do that. But I can do this, and part of it is the basic correction panel. And one of the things, as amazing as it was, that we had neglected to include when we released the Lumetri panel last June was a white balance eyedropper. So this is one of the most essential things. And you can see in this shot here, this clearly was not white balanced. So it's as simple as taking that standard Adobe white balance eyedropper, looking for sort of a neutral point, grayish white. Oops, I didn't get it there. Let me redo that again. All right, boom, and you've got your shot white balanced. Okay, very nicely. All right, so again, here's your before white balancing and your after. So single click. If that's not exciting, then you haven't been using Lumetri, because it's a real drag to have to do that manually. White balance eyedropper, so necessary. All right. Now, along those same lines, this is unbelievable how much noise is going on here. We've also got a whole new series of looks, several dozen new looks, in fact. These are creative LUTs. Someone was just asking about using input LUTs, or using a traditional LUT to flatten out the camera to give you more latitude, more contrast, more capabilities to sharpen and saturate. So if you go into the creative panel of the Lumetri color panel, you will now see here's the original ones that we had and a couple scattered throughout. But now if I just scroll down to the bottom, like I said, these are all different color LUT presets, and you can start adding these and auditioning them. Some of my favorites are some of the film stock emulations. So this is the Kodak 2393, Fuji F125. Just beautiful. I mean, this is truly one of my favorites. This is also not new, but we have something called uninterrupted playback. This has been in several versions already, where you can audition, the playback of something, and if you've got effects on it, and you can just make changes to it, not only turning it on and off, but also just adjusting parameters in real time, which I can do right now. And the playback never stops. So if I want to roll back some of the intensity, but maybe increase the vibrance, maybe I want to go into basic and actually warm it up even a bit more, or maybe just cool it off. Make it really sort of cool. Drop some of those highlights even more, and maybe add a little bit more of saturation. Okay, to really bring out the greens. I'm doing all this without ever stopping. So this is, you can add them by clicking the arrows. Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? It's just so well thought out and so well done. Okay, so new speed looks, white balance eyedropper, but it did not stop there, because again, talking about sort of grading traditionally, all right, and I'll show it to you with this clip here, which I've shown before. One thing that we had in Premiere all this time, but it wasn't exactly discoverable. Just looking at my time. Oh, You know what, Michael? I haven't been plugged in this whole time. So this whole thing, my whole workflow, do we have a power I can steal? Or maybe just, actually mine is plugged in right there. I can probably reach it. It's the big, aha. How about that? So, that's it. So
That's it.
yeah. So I wasn't even plugged in. So not only have I been editing 4, 5, 6, and 8K, I didn't even have power connected. And still real time. And still it worked. And we didn't have a single crash, did we?
No.
No.
Well,
Well, I didn't realize that. That's that's a bit of user error. But it worked nonetheless. Okay. Nuncio, always. Oh, I know you are, man. Always promoting CC on your channel and your FB groups. No, and we thank you, man. Use the Adobe magic. That's right, Indie Demon. So, so cool. All right. So anyway, HSL secondary color correction, the ability to isolate particular colors and just change that particular color. Now, we've had that. Hey, Blue Tears. How are you? We've had that feature for a very long time, secondary color correction, and it existed inside the fast color corrector. The problem is that it existed inside, it existed inside the three-way color corrector. So even if you searched inside the effects panel here for not effects controls, effects panel down here, if you searched for secondary previously, it didn't find anything because the secondary color correction was actually a twirl down inside another effect. So most people never even knew that we had it. Doesn't matter because it was good, but it was just hard to use. It was a little difficult to manipulate, and ultimately it was buried inside of another effect. So just not ideal. Well, now we've brought it front and center, and you can see that we've got HSL secondaries right inside the Lumetri panel. So I ultimately want to change the color of this jacket right here. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. So what's nice about this, if you've never even done secondary color correction, is that the signal flow, the way that this works, the way that these things are applied, is in a very intuitive way. So the first is you set your color, you kind of set the key, and then you can add color and remove colors again with eyedroppers. This is pretty standard for secondaries. Or if you're kind of sort of in the ballpark, you can choose one of these preset colors here. And then as I click inside of this here, oh, whoops, did I grab the wrong one? Sorry. Oh, and wait a minute. Sorry, I'm not even on the right clip. Excuse me. All right, end of the day. Let's go ahead and select this, choose my color. Now, right inside the UI, right on canvas, I can very clearly see the key that I'm pulling, okay? So we've got our H, our hue here. That looks pretty good. Let's go into the saturation, and again, we're trying to remove all of the elements that we don't want. And to be honest, yeah, see, that's like a black shadow right there, so we don't need that. That's probably pretty good for the most part. All right, pretty solid looking key. Okay, so now you define the key, you set the key, you can refine the key. So maybe there's some noise, you can denoise, maybe you want to add a little blur in there, right? You can do so if you so desire. And then the last step after you set, after you refine, is to correct or change. So for this, maybe we'll just do something to make him kind of blend in a little bit more with the background there. Get sort of orangey. All right, a little something like that. That's kind of extreme, right? These sounds they're just unreal. What's happening? That's what we're hearing in the wall here. You can hear it? All right. So that's it. So now you say, oh, look at that. Look at that shot over there, though. You've got the same one. Do I have to do that same key pulling again? Key pulling. That is not a euphemism. Do I have to do that same process again? No. So I can right-click here, copy, bounce over to this shot, select it, paste attributes, paste my Lumetri color settings, orange jacket, yo. Perfect. How? How did that work? Because we just copied the color sound information and just pasted it there. And it's only going to apply to pixels that were that sort of magenta-y pink. That's it. Keep pulling. It's like a magazine that a colleague of mine once ran across called Eel Pulling Monthly, and that was his joke. That is not a euphemism. All right. So once again, we've got it here. Let's go ahead and just Control-click, paste attributes. Even in different lighting, right? This was like so dark and in shadow, still works, still applies. Okay, right-click here, paste attributes, boom, orange. Pretty slick, all right? So slick, right? HSL secondaries. All right, we've got 6 minutes. So the very last thing that I'll show you in Premiere before I very quickly show you a couple of amazing things in After Effects. I think I'll just maybe do the C4D stuff because we've been talking about animation and things. New support for VR workflows. Obviously, if you're working in the industry today, you're very aware that VR is a thing. It is here to stay. Oh, and there was a power cable here the whole time. Power cable right here. It's yours. Oh, okay, because you had power before. Okay. So if you take a look here at this footage, this is what we refer to as an equirectangular frame. So this is pre-stitched. It's stitched outside of Premiere Pro, and there's a couple of different apps that can do that. GoPro has one. There's a couple different ways that you can stitch your 360 footage together. Now, while people have been editing VR in Premiere for quite some time, without any sort of external plugin, hardware, whatever, you had no way directly inside the app natively to move around the sphere, to be inside the sphere, to navigate, to tilt your head in 360 degrees. We didn't have a native internal way to do that. Now we do. So if we just go back to my timeline here, I was mentioning before the new buttons that we have, and the other new button that we have here is this toggle VR video display. So by enabling this, and let me just scrub ahead. It's a funny scene with this girl jumping off the pole here. And I noticed something yesterday when watching it too, that she actually falls. You're not supposed to be in that area. But anyway, if I go ahead and turn this on, toggle our VR video display. If I click on the flyout menu here, we have settings. And here you have the frame layout. So this will work for both monoscopic and stereoscopic VR, which is very, very cool. And then you just basically can set the captured view horizontal and vertical, and then the monitor view horizontal and vertical. And in fact, this needs to be 120 degrees, not 180. Click OK on that. And now what you're going to see is that we are now inside a VR viewer, where you can see that we've got controls here for the vertical tilt here. We can kind of click and drag on this. There's the moon, right? All right, so we can kind of see top to bottom there. All right, of course, we have our horizontal 360 pan, okay? And we can also just input coordinates. So I can just go back to 0, 0 on this, okay? Or even better, I can simply click inside the UI, just like you do on YouTube today, and essentially audition, get inside the sphere, see what's going to be happening as I'm cutting this footage together. And you can even do this while it's playing back. Now, I'm in 1/4 res, again, based on my system, but you can see, it always makes me laugh. I feel sorry because it shouldn't, but we don't have the sound on this clip right now, but the original clip had this sound, and she actually went, hi-ha. It's just, I love sound effects. Okay. So while it's playing, moving around, scrubbing, just awesome. Hey, Paulina. So this is truly, and it's just the beginning, okay? This is just the beginning. We have just introduced this. VR is so new. The key thing that you should also take away is that if you're creating VR content today, if we go back to Premiere here for a second, when you go to export this content, if you're going to export to YouTube, okay, and of course you'll do this through Media Encoder, go into our H.264 YouTube presets, you'll actually, inside the presets here, you have the ability to flag this as VR content. And if it is VR and you flag it as VR, and you'll see there's a little checkbox down at the bottom here, video is VR. Again, you'll find these are, you don't have to use these presets, but You can enable these as part of the YouTube preset. This tells YouTube, this is a click and drag thing. Or if you have external goggles, whatever, you can monitor it that way through external software and hardware. Point is, we've got the flag in here now, so you can be, if you've got a 360 rig, they're inexpensive ones now. You've got your stitched equirectangular frame. You want to do some cutting, some sound design. You can do that in Media Encoder today. You can export it and upload it, destination publishing, directly to YouTube today. And when it's all done and uploaded and sitting there, you can say to someone, okay, yeah, check out my 360 video, click and drag, and that's it. What are you hearing? I know, I'm sorry, there's construction going on in the building. Whales mating. Could be something very strange. Oh, I'm sorry, Paulina, you've got a bad Adobe connection. When is Adobe going to auto-overlay the Benny Hill theme on stuff like that? Oh, yeah, oh. Oh, and it's 6 o'clock. Oh my God, that's it. And Voodoo Val is coming up. Pixel Chicks, Voodoo Val, Two Senseless, and the one with Bear. We are out of time. Voodoo Val, Two Senseless, and the one with Bear. Much love. Tomorrow, during our 2-hour stream, we will continue. I'm actually going to take some of that time and show you more in After Effects. You're going to want to see that tomorrow. But we got to go, everybody. Thanks so much for day 2. We'll see you tomorrow.